Hey, peace. Welcome back. Secret House Against.
Secret House.
Here we are again. You guys know us. Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture, conversations, reviews, discussions about hip-hop music, largely underground, independent, and just really dope stuff. And today, me and Jet have got together on this lovely Sunday, not the day that this is releasing, but you know the vibes. We are going to discuss the new collaborative album from Love the Genius and DJ Green Lantern, The Genius Tape, which came out earlier this month, or last month, June 9th, 10 songs, 29 minutes, a fairly quick listen. And what we like to do when we have an artist that we haven't discussed before, let's talk about it. Like, how do you know Love the Genius?
Again, I say this a lot, an artist I'm familiar with, but never actually listened to any kind of mixtape or full project. DJ Green Lantern, of course, mainstay for well over 20 years at this point. Collaborated with all kinds of massive stars, Ludacris, Eminem,
One of the best.
One of the all-time greats.
One of the all-time greats. I know of Love the Genius through her kind of association and relationship with Griselda Cats.
Yes.
She is a Buffalo, New York MC. And I've heard her on a variety of tracks that she collabed on, and she's been on, but I didn't really tap in all that much to her discography. Of course, I know Green Lantern. Some of his work with the Griselda guys are kind of my favorite. I love Reject on Steroids. That was kind of the Conway album that made me a big fan of Conway. And I like both of them. I was born in Buffalo, New York. I don't know anything about it because I moved from there almost immediately. I have zero memories of Buffalo, New York, but it's like when I see those cats like coming out of Buffalo, New York, it's endearing to me just to know I kind of have, a temporal relationship with that to a degree.
It's also just generally nice to see this like new strain, not new strain, because obviously people from Buffalo have been making great music for a very long time, but this strain of, New York rap that is not just New York City.
Sure.
You have your rappers from Buffalo, you have your rappers from Yonkers, but from Albany or whatever, but this Buffalo strain that has really emerged over the last few years as like its own kind of tour de force that is inseparable from and yet, distinct from New York City.
Yeah, and the Griselda Cats have left an indelible mark on hip hop, and they're Buffalo Cats. Yeah. And I do love the Genius's work. Should we get into the album?
Get into it.
So one of the first things that kind of really stood out to me about this project is that it leans into some of it seems very New York. It seems very New York hip hop in a way that's kind of nostalgic that kind of doesn't really exist. And the thing that kind of stood out to me the most is that for the Griselda guys, even the newer class, your Rome Streets and some of those other, ST-NAC even, a lot of them lean pretty heavy into the street life surrealism of growing up under, difficult conditions and selling drugs. And I like Love because she's obviously a black woman and grew up in the community that she did, but she's also kind of on the periphery of that, as she's not on here rapping with some of the more popular tropes that the Griselda guys lean into. She's kind of got a really rich perspective on both worlds, and she really is an artist. She's
yes. My initial reaction to this project, so there's something about the word genius that just kind of triggers me.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of people out in Tokyo calling themselves geniuses, and typically if somebody calls themselves a genius, I instinctively bounce right off of them. That shit scares the shit out of me. Obviously in hip hop, braggadocio, bravado, kind of flexing, talking about how you're a genius, pretty standard fare, not necessarily indicative of an overinflated ego or anything like that. But also, as far as Griselda type projects go, obviously Griselda's always used that kind of veneer of Western canon artistry as part of the kind of physical or the aesthetic trappings of the music. You always do see, Greek statues, old paintings, Renaissance paintings, whatever, comparisons with these kinds of painters and sculptures and
High
stuff like
art
that,
and,
high art. But this album is packed with a lot of very kind of artistry in the sense of like, it's pretty weird, it's pretty surreal, but it also brings like a very unique perspective on the Griselda formula.
I actually, this album, you know, before I kind of had like a thing like Love the Genius, and then she spells it with like a 7 and an X.
7xv,
And the first time I saw it, I was like, I have no idea how to read this, but you know, that's, you know, it's hip hop because they spelled it wrong. And like, I was, you know, the same thing. You call yourself Love the Genius. It's like, okay, I don't necessarily put that in like the upper tier of hip hop names, but all that aside, she might have, with this project, has catapulted her to the upper tier of Griselda cats for me. She has a very clear and vivid approach to a conversational style of rapping. It's calm and deliberate. There's a feminine strength there, and she's not glorifying some of the more antisocial, surreal aspects of street life in a way. In a lot of ways, she's just like, there's songs on here where she is making Lost on Mars, right? The Lost on Mars track, it's got a really dope beat, but essentially the first verse, she's discussing how like the relationship with her and her partner, it's about like his mentality of being comfortable on the block and not wanting to leave and getting caught up in that cycle, which we know isn't a good thing to really be a part of, but basically being institutionalized by this street life cycle. And she says like, you love the shit because you feel way better with ops than you do facing the truth. You're more comfortable facing cops. That's crazy to me. And this album, like, it's not like 16 bars, chorus, 16 bars. Some of these songs are like 3 minutes and it's 2 verses. She's going the fuck off, and her perspective on it's almost like the antithesis of the things glorified in Griselda music.
Yes.
It's a serious critique on it, and it comes from this feminine position that is just interesting. The magnifying glass that she puts on her relationship with this, it's really good. And
also none of that stops the album from being like swagged out.
Yeah.
Like, she comes with, you know, all of the kind of panache and finesse that you would expect from, you know, Conway.
Yeah.
There's bars on here. There is like
Conway is on this album.
Conway's on the album, of course. But there is this style, you know, she's styling all over this record
dope.
as well.
She's
fucking
dope. She's actually really fucking dope at just rapping. And she doesn't, you know, I feel a little bit away about this critique when it comes to I don't ever, like, for years I didn't say bad shit about Obama around anybody that wasn't black. And I don't want to demonize or really screw down a position about how I feel about a lot of women rappers, especially the more popular rappers who project and use their sexuality as a device in their music or how to sell it. She just doesn't seem to do that at all.
I mean, I did some reading, and it seemed as if she was very reticent to have, like, you know, it doesn't seem to be a fan of being approached with that, you know, femcee or female rapper label. Very much someone who just wants to be seen by their own merits, which I think is totally valid across, you know, all the women MCs that we like, whether that's Nappy Nina or No Name or Love the
Carrie
Genius.
Foe,
Carrie Foe. But this record absolutely, you know, does, you know, there are absolutely, like, indelibly, like, you can't separate elements of this record from its femininity, but at the same time, I do think, you know, this is very straightforwardly like a bars, you know, a beat, like a
you know,
a rap record.
I think what I was trying to get at is, like, you know, with a lot of male rap, it's like, yeah, I get bitches, I fuck, get money, you know, I'm good in bed, you know, like all those type of things. A lot of times, and even like Chez Noir kind of leans into some of those things, which kind of, it's not that
Good to see her on the album, though.
Yeah, I do like her, but a lot of times it's just like, yeah, I'm not really interested in hearing about how dope you are at like fucking or being, like getting women, and that goes for male or female artists. And this album is not one that I got any real hints of that in any way. It didn't come. What I'm trying to say is, doesn't come across as like the female equivalent of what the Griselda guys are doing. This is
not like a Distaff counterpart. This is not Supergirl or Batwoman type rap.
Yeah, no. It's not a gender swap. It's not a palette swap. And it's actually great to have an artist like this on Griselda, because just the balance of the art that comes out in Griselda leans heavily towards certain
like hypermasculinity,
right, and just things that they talk about. And for hers, I was like, damn, like, if you didn't tell me she was a Griselda artist, I wouldn't have necessarily thought that she was.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's
certainly
good New York rap shit.
Yes. There are, of course, some of those trappings. I think DJ Green Lantern does a really good job across the board presenting, the Griselda vibe, but also it doesn't sound like, fucking number one spot by Ludacris. I think he produced that as well.
The beats are great.
The beats are generally like really, really good across the album. They're soulful, they're kind of jazzy and a little funky.
You don't get tired of it. Like, even though it's just like, some of these songs are like 3 minutes and it's like one person rapping. It's Love the Genius rapping, and it's 35,000 bars.
Yep.
And the beats just provide a nice canvas for
It's cohesive. Like
it does have that.
It feels like an album.
It doesn't feel like a mixtape. It doesn't feel like something that was hobbled together. It seems like, again, concise, deliberate thoughts on things laid out over concise, deliberate fucking beats. There's a moment on this album where it's AA speaks.
Yep.
And you and I have kind of been critical of like getting somebody on your album to be like, yo, you know who's dope?
Really dope?
Man, I'm so proud of you. Your mom loves you and shit. And this guy, I feel like he kind of circumvents the corniness that I've assigned to albums for that, right? And it's just like, I don't believe that it's written. I believe that this was just a on the top of the head, eloquent, powerful endorsement of Love the Genius. And it was just good and poignant, and the beat behind it just kind of like, you just kind of feel happy to hear somebody throw the flowers out in that type of way. And even I listened to, you get that. It's like, okay, I heard what he had to say. Congratulations, nice speech. I like Love the Genius too. But I listened to that a few times and was kind of marveling at how eloquent he was able to just freestyle that shit. I mean, there's not like this, you know what I mean? Like, there's a through line. There's a wisdom there, and there's kind of like, It really encapsulates like why Love is an outlier and why people should really be listening to her art. I like the fact that she's on Griselda simply for the fact that it will extend the reach of this type of artistry.
Yes.
This is kind of an outlier in hip hop. You don't really hear a lot of women rappers or even male rappers who get to the kind of perspective or the experiences that she's talking about in a manner that is just fucking really good at rapping. She's fucking great at rapping.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, what are some of your favorite songs on the album? Maybe we get into that. Like, Meditation starts off great.
Really strong start. Apologies.
Yeah. Long form, concise, hard honesty bars with wisdom.
It's a meditation.
Fucking great.
It's straight out of the gate. You have these meditations. I really enjoy back end development.
No doubt. Yeah.
AA speaks, AA speaks. I don't know how you want to pronounce that. And
I might
even go with. I'm thinking probably even just Neck Protected, the last track on the album.
Yeah, that's dope too. Which is the one with Conway? For some reason, my note. I guess
Brainstorming is the one with Conway.
Okay, fucking Conway's great on that shit.
Conway's
man.
great on there.
Conway still has all the love from me, man. He's fucking great on.
Oh
that.
yeah, he's crazy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great Griselda album, man. It's a great album, period. But DJ Green Lantern does it again. He makes great boom bap, fucking like it. it's the formula.
Yes,
He's perfected the formula of the sample, the drum, the open snare. You know what I mean? Like, he's got it. And when you have an artist like Love the Genius, it's just a really great canvas for her to just go the fuck off. I also love Meditation. Like, when Meditation came on, I was coming home and I was fairly drunk, and I was like, let me get to this Love the Genius album. And I was just kind of like, I was vibing all afternoon. It was Brooklyn Terry's going away party. I was vibing all afternoon, and then like it's one of those things. It's like some MCs make you nod your head, and others make you keep your head still. Like, damn, oh shit! Like she was going off. And Meditation started me off like that. You know, that's all that's on my mind. Like, this plethora of experiences. I love that song. Brainstorming. The first 5 all the way up into AA Speaks are great, but I also really like Lost on Mars because of, you know, she just really gets out in it.
Perspectives on
you
that,
said you're on your square a lot. I know because you love the block. Genius. I'll be the one.
Okay, I see.
She's smart.
Nice.
She's doing it, man. I love the artistry. I am now a fan of Love the Genius, and
Likewise,
I will be directing people who are fans of the more traditional style of rapper over boom bap type of beats. I'll be suggesting this to a lot of people that I know. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I know so many people who love the Wu-Tang Clan, and I mean, the comparisons are inevitable, right? This is an artist who literally calls themselves the Genius, and the last track is called Neck Protected.
That's right, which is, it's clearly. I think she starts off the verse with like a old Wu-Tang refrain too.
And this is better than anything that has come from that circle in at least 15 years. So
oh yeah, I mean, The Wild was all right. Shout out to Raekwon on that, but I've been kind of fundamentally just disappointed. Even though Method Man's gotten better at rapping, his freestyles are great. Anyways, Secret House Against the World.
Secret House. We're back.
I didn't make enough notes about this album. Apparently, I miss putting my notes on quite a few of these songs.
Concise and to the point, like this record. We're all good.
We got it.
Thanks for watching.
Patreon.
Like, comment, subscribe.